Hey, it's your guy Tyrrell back with the interviews. In today's video, we're going to briefly analyze how Alexander-Arnold played a key role in Klopp winning the tactical battle over Arteta. So when we break down the game and we do look at the board, we have Arsenal in a 4-2-3-1 and Liverpool starting the game in a 4-3-3. So first we're going to look at how Liverpool looked to approach the game out of possession and caused Arsenal issues. And then we're going to break down how Arsenal looked to approach the game without the ball and where Alexander-Arnold played a key role. So first, when we look at Liverpool, yes, they start this game in a 4-3-3, and they ultimately dropped off into a 4-5-1 out of possession. And along with the fact that Arsenal was very sloppy in their transitional play, it was Liverpool's high press from Arsenal goal kicks that disrupted the Gunners from building attacks out of the back. What we ended up seeing was that when Arsenal looked to split their center backs, they would have Mane and Salah just ahead of Gabriel and Holding, but they would also block off the passing lane into the fullbacks. Firmino would stick to Thomas Partey dropping deeper, and Thiago would push higher up the pitch to close down Dani Ceballos. That leaves Fabinho tracking the movement of Odegaard, and Milner would shift out to close down Chambers if the ball was played in towards his path. Here you can see an example of Leno being forced to go along with Mane and Salah ahead of the center backs, Firmino and Thiago stepping towards the double pivot, and Milner prepared to close down Chambers if the ball is played towards the right back. In the build-up to Liverpool's third goal, it stems from their high press, and you witness Salah stepping towards Gabriel but blocking off the passing lane into Cedric. When Gabriel scoops the ball over Salah, it's Alexander-Arnold who steps into the challenge, and he ends up guiding the ball into Salah ahead of the Arsenal center back. What we see next is Mane looks to make a run towards the box and he pulls out Holding. Alexander-Arnold makes the overlapping run, and you have Jota running in towards the box goal side of Chambers. When Salah plays the pass into Mane, he lets it roll across his body to bypass Holding, but he's unable to control it and it falls into the path of Jota, who kills off the game. Shortly after that, we witness Liverpool's press again with Firmino on Thomas Partey, and Ceballos freely stepping towards the ball to receive it from Gabriel. When the center back plays the ball to his Arsenal teammate, he's closed down by Firmino and Thiago, and as he looks to turn and instantly play the ball forward, it's Firmino who steps into the challenge to win possession, and Thiago flicks the ball back to Mane, who drops it off to Milner. Otherwise, if Liverpool didn't look to press from the front, like I said, they dropped off into a 4-5-1, and although Salah and Mane struggle to track the movement of Tierney and Chambers when they push forward, you would see Thiago and Milner shifting across the pitch to close down the fullbacks, and at times specifically Thiago would shift across to help Alexander-Arnold against the threat of Aubameyang. The other key factor to Liverpool's success out of possession was the presence of Fabinho. As stated in the video that we uploaded yesterday regarding Fabinho's influence in Liverpool's midfield, he's able to provide cover for the fullbacks when they push higher up the pitch, and he's done a very good job of shutting down the opposing side's number 10. Here was Martin Odegaard, and while Fabinho did a very good job of breaking up play across the pitch, you could see him shutting down Odegaard whenever he looked to receive the ball between the lines or ahead of the midfield bank. Here you could see Fabinho stepping out of Liverpool's 4-5-1 to apply pressure and force Odegaard to play the ball back to his center backs. There was a time where Ceballos played a loose ball into the path of Odegaard as Arsenal attempted to break on the counter, and you could see Aubameyang breaking into space behind Alexander-Arnold, but Fabinho stepped in to make a challenge. With Odegaard looking to regain his footing, Fabinho did a very good job of maintaining pressure, and he ultimately dispossessed the Arsenal midfielder. And if we look to one final example, we could focus on the aftermath of Pepe winning an aerial duel over Robertson, but he nodded the ball into the path of Odegaard, and Fabinho instantly applied pressure to win possession with additional help from Milner. Nevertheless, when we shift to the main tactical theme of this game, we have to analyze how Liverpool looked to attack an Arsenal side that dropped off into two banks of four. Initially, the Liverpool fullbacks did hold their position and weren't looking to push higher up the pitch, but as the game continued, they became the key threats. What you ended up seeing was that Lacazette and Odegaard did look to press from the front, and they were ensuring that they did close down Fabinho so he couldn't dictate the tempo of the game. There were times where Odegaard did look to step towards the Liverpool center back in Kabak, and he would block off the passing lane into Fabinho, while Lacazette did step to Phillips. But for the most part, they ended up exchanging roles. If Lacazette pushed to the center back, then Odegaard would stick on Fabinho, and vice versa. If Odegaard didn't step towards Kabak, then you would see Pepe stepping towards the Liverpool center back, but blocking off the passing lane into Robertson. That leaves Aubameyang closing down Alexander-Arnold and Ceballos and Thomas Partey sticking out to Thiago and Milner. However, there were a few occasions where Alisson ended up going long into the path of Mane backing into holding, and Liverpool were able to get themselves into high quality positions. Here we witness Pepe helping Lacazette press from the front with Odegaard stepping towards Fabinho. That results in Alisson playing a long ball into the path of Mane backing into holding, and when the Liverpool attacker holds off the Arsenal center back, he's able to spin across him and break towards goal with Gabriel shifting across, and it creates a 2v1 as Firmino's making an unmarked run towards the box. What should happen here is that Mane should play the ball across Gabriel for Firmino's run off his shoulder, but Firmino ends up making the wrong run and it forces Mane to play the ball into left half space, and Gabriel's able to sweep up. But like I said, the main focus in this game was down the Alexander-Arnold and Aubameyang flank. Pepe did a very good job of tracking Robertson, although there were times where the Liverpool left back did break beyond Pepe and Chambers. But what ended up happening was that there was the feeling that Aubameyang could exploit space behind Alexander-Arnold and that Arsenal would look to get Aubameyang into 1v1s with the Liverpool right back. But in this game, what you ended up seeing was that it was Alexander-Arnold consistently getting into attacking positions beyond Aubameyang and trying to place his teammates into legitimate goal-scoring positions. Initially, we witnessed Milner dropping between the center backs to get on the ball, and you have Thiago's positioning pulling out Aubameyang, and Alexander-Arnold set to break forward into the final third. When Milner clips the diagonal ball out to the right back, he pulls out Tierney, and it leaves Salah free to break towards the box, as you have Firmino breaking beyond Gabriel. What happens next is Alexander-Arnold pulls the ball back to Salah, but he ends up being closed down by Ceballos, Tierney, and Thomas Partey, and that Arsenal pressure prevents him from getting onto his shooting foot, and Arsenal are able to clear their lines. We end up seeing Salah holding off Tierney's pressure, and Alexander-Arnold looking to run beyond Aubameyang into right half space. When Salah holds off the pressure, he ends up playing the ball across the Arsenal left back for Alexander-Arnold, and it pulls out Ceballos, which leaves James Milner free at the edge of the box. Alexander-Arnold's able to break the challenge of the Arsenal midfielder and pull the ball back to Milner, who delivers a first-time ball for Mane, who nods his effort off holding and into the path of Leno. As we shift towards the second half, substitutions did play a key role. Cedric didn't do as good of a job against Salah or Alexander-Arnold as Tierney. El Neni came on for Ceballos to provide energy and some defensive cover, and ultimately one of the defining moments in this game was the introduction of Jota, who came on for Robertson, and we ended up seeing Liverpool shift to a 4-2-3-1 with Milner moving to left back. This ultimately gives Liverpool an additional attacker in and around the box. It also enabled Firmino to drop deeper into the midfield zone to create overloads and get on the ball to create chances for his teammates. But while Jota's penalty box presence did prove decisive, it was still down to Alexander-Arnold getting beyond Aubameyang into high quality positions in the final third to place his teammates into positions to score these goals. Here you could see Thiago running off Ceballos to create a 2v1 with Alexander-Arnold running off Aubameyang, and as Phillips carries the ball forward, he splits Lacazette and Aubameyang, and he guides the ball into Thiago, who directs it into Alexander-Arnold. The right back now has the ability to deliver a cross in the box, and he opts to deliver a low ball across Ceballos into the path of Salah, but he fails to test the keeper. In the build-up to Liverpool's opener, Firmino receives the ball ahead of the Arsenal midfield bank, Salah's occupying Cedric narrow, and Alexander-Arnold's looking to run off Aubameyang. And he ends up dropping the ball off to Alexander-Arnold, who lets it roll across his body, and you have Firmino making a run across Gabriel, and Jota looking to make a run in between Holding and Chambers, who aren't watching his movement. As Alexander-Arnold delivers his cross, you end up seeing the gap that Firmino's movement creates, but Jota looks to run into the gap between the right back and the center back, and when he receives the delivery, he nods his first time effort beyond Leno. So as you can see, while there are a few elements that help Klopp win the tactical battle over Arteta, the reoccurring theme here was Alexander-Arnold constantly bypassing Aubameyang to create high quality chances for his teammates that helped Liverpool claim all 3 points. Hi, everybody. Thanks for watching and subscribe here for your latest tactical analysis and daily commentary on the Interview show. And if that wasn't enough, don't forget you could find more organic, unfiltered soccer/football analysis on the Interviews podcast, the best soccer/football podcast in the world, available on iTunes, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Spreaker, and any Android apps on your Android devices.